afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Right now at 4, Governor Jay Inslee is touring the Spokane Arena mass vaccination site. This visit comes just hours after he eased up on some of those restrictions on how counties will be evaluated for the state's reopening plan.
So we'll get to what those changes will look like for eastern Washington counties. But first, our Amanda Rowley is at the arena now, where she just spoke with the governor about his visit and the new reopening phase guidelines. So Amanda, what did he have to say, and what is his next stop in Spokane this evening?
Well, Tom, Governor Jay Inslee said in our media availability after the tour that he was really impressed with operations and how the workflow is going here at Spokane's mass vaccination site. In fact, we'll get more details later, but in fact, he did announce that hours will soon be extending until later in the evening here, just to expand the accessibility of the vaccine to folks who may need that time getting off work. Again, very impressed with what we're doing here in Spokane County. I did have the chance to speak with Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward about her thoughts of his visit today, and she says, hey, he's been here now twice in the last couple of weeks, and each time we've shown here in Spokane County what we can accomplish and what we are able to do safely. Take a listen. Is there any takeaway that you had hoped the governor had from this tour today and that you thought may have been well received?
You know what's so great is this is the second time he's been here in just a few weeks now. He came here to see how our schools were doing successfully with in-person learning and kids returning to the classroom. And when we were with him at Stevens Elementary School on the city's north side, for him to see that teachers wanted to be back in the classroom, that the kids wanted to be back in the classroom, and that is the recipe for success. And now he's here again to see another Spokane success story, and that's our mass vaccination site. And more of our providers coming online, offering vaccines to people. That's the only way we're going to get on the other side of this health pandemic, is get more people vaccinated.
Now, as you mentioned, Tom, yes, they wrapped up their tour here just moments ago. Now Governor Jay Inslee will be headed to Second Harvest to see the incredible efforts of supporting our community here in just a matter of minutes. Reporting from the Spokane Arena, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. And today, again, Governor Inslee loosened the criteria for Washington counties to stay in phase 3 of the state's reopening plan. So here's how it breaks down. Right now, the only way to move backwards in a phase would be if a county is failing both metrics, that is, too high COVID case counts and too high for hospitalizations. If a county is failing one of the two metrics, they can actually still stay in their current phase. Before Inslee's change today, counties needed to meet both in order to remain in their current phase. But again, now that is no longer the case, and that gives counties more of a chance to remain in their current phase. So let's take a look. As of right now, all counties in Washington are currently in phase 3 of reopening, but there are several counties at risk of having to move back to phase 2. So as you can see on the map, the counties in green currently meeting the requirements. The counties in red are not. So we will officially know on Monday if any of those counties there in red will have to move back a phase.
And we have important news for anyone 18 years and older in the Wenatchee area who wants to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Happening today, the Safeway at 501 North Miller in Wenatchee has extra doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that they need to be given out by 7 o'clock tonight. One of their store locations had a temperature issue with one of these storage facilities, so now they have extra vaccines that must be distributed. You do not need to meet any other criteria other than being 18 years old or older.
Good news if anyone's out in that, all of central Washington, people out there definitely are used to driving distances. So again, that's the Safeway in Wenatchee if anyone needs one of those COVID vaccines.
And that Johnson & Johnson's a one and done.
Yes, lots of people like the idea of that too. Hey, Tom, you know, it turned out to be a really nice day.
Boy.
The sunshine came out, but I heard you talking about snow. I don't see how those two things go together. They're not supposed to go together.
They're not supposed to go together, but hey, it's spring in the inland northwest. So what are we talking about? We're talking about seeing some snow showers. Take a look at the weather heading headlines. Chance of snow Saturday morning. Also gusty winds. The snow will not stick. We'll get above freezing, but we're only going to get into the 40s. Then the sunshine returns on Sunday, and then next week you're just going to love with daytime highs climbing into the mid to upper 60s by the end of next week. Right now we're at 54 degrees and it is windy. Wind is out of the southwest at 21 miles per hour. You take a look at the Doppler radar, just a few showers up to the north of us in extreme northeastern Washington and northern Idaho. Nothing happening here as of yet, but again, that weather system is moving in tomorrow morning. So look for a chance of some snow showers on Saturday. Continued windy with a daytime high of 47. Very cold morning on Sunday, but we'll see sunshine and a high of 52. I'll check your 7-day forecast in just a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks very much. And a quick sports note for everyone, new at 4 today. Joel Ayayi has declared for the NBA draft. He says he will be foregoing his senior season at Gonzaga now to pursue a professional career, and he will hire an agent. In a statement posted to his social media, Ayayi says in part, "My 4 years at Gonzaga have been unforgettable and some of the most special times in my life." He thanks everyone at GU, especially the coaching staff and his teammates. He also thanked all of Zag Nation and the people of Spokane. So Ayayi is the first Zag now to record a triple-double in program history. The French native was second in the WCC, making 68.3% inside the arc. Following the regular season, he was also named first team All-West Coast Conference. Well, the Coeur d'Alene School District says its board will be reevaluating the mask requirement after pushback from parents. It's been debated for months, but protesters took to Lake City High School earlier this week to make a pretty strong statement. Those students were encouraged to walk out of class over the school requirements to wear a mask. That is, despite mask mandates across the country being lifted. About 50 community members protested outside of the Coeur d'Alene School today. The majority of them being community members with seemingly no tie to the school. Some parents even brought their children, although the school had given permission to students to attend. We're told only a handful actually walked out of class.
I think their head's in the right place, but just not like executing it really that well.
Freshman Wyatt Johnson says he and his friends didn't go to the protest because he doesn't mind wearing the mask. Also, he says protesting Lake City doesn't really do anything. The real people, he says, protesters need to address is the school board. So our Morgan Trow talked with the school district about when masks might actually be rescinded in the future. She'll have their response coming up later on KREM 2 News at 5.
Well, with the weather getting nicer and summer just a couple of months away, people will soon be wanting to hit the water to cool off. But with uncertainty about what phase of reopening Spokane will be in the coming weeks, some have wondered if the city pools will even reopen this summer. Well, our own Ian Smay spoke to the city's Park and Recreation Director about what the summer may look like for those wanting to cool off.
Last summer, City of Spokane pools like the Comstock Park pool behind me remained closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This led some to be worried that they'd remain closed for a second straight summer. But the City of Spokane tells me that even if the county moves back a phase, the pools will be reopening with some changes this summer. Crews are busy preparing City of Spokane pools as the weather starts warming up. While pools were closed last year, the city's Parks and Recreation Department is moving forward with plans to reopen to swimmers.
A part of this year, we really want to bring back the aquatic centers to the community and have it be a core service for the City of Spokane Parks and Recreation.
Jones also says this will help with providing important programs such as swimming lessons to kids in the community, something that was hard if not impossible to do last summer. And even with the possibility of Spokane being moved back into Phase 2, pools will still be able to reopen under Governor Jay Inslee's current guidelines. Under Phase 2, 50 participants would be allowed in aquatic centers, but Jones says staying in Phase 3 would be largely beneficial for local pools.
Phase 3, we can up that to 50%, which is a huge boost, and we'd be able to increase those operations across all aquatic centers.
Now, some things will look different if you plan on cooling off in a local pool this summer. Under current state guidelines, pools must try to ensure social distancing for patrons not of the same household, including on the decks and in locker rooms, as well as the water, unless unavoidable. This includes the rearranging or removal of deck chairs and tables. Face coverings will also be required when not outdoors or swimming or using equipment such as water slides. Jones says working with these guidelines hasn't been much of an issue.
No, not really. I mean, it all comes with our partnerships and communication, which has been great with the regional health district and our state officials. And our staff has done a great job of drafting protocols, getting the feedback. And for us too, it's going to be communication and messaging for the community. And so we're working on that right now of just going out there and say, hey, this is what it's going to look a little different.
One thing to note is that the city of Spokane says its 17 splash pads are not currently planning on reopening. That's because they would all require an attendant during all hours under current state guidelines, and they want to focus staffing on the pools and aquatic centers. In Spokane, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
Well, people all around the world are now watching the Derek Chauvin trial in Minneapolis, and we're even getting questions here about the process. Coming up after the break, we'll bring you the latest in that trial.